Hello folks and welcome back. I'm super pumped because we are moving away from function-based views towards class-based views today. And we are gonna, well, to be honest, only scratch the surface of them, but in a way that it will be useful in our situation for our project. This is also important when you want to stick to the object-oriented programming. What we were doing up until now was pretty loose. We do have compartments, we have files that do different things. But from the view perspective, we were always using just functions, which is not very object-oriented. Using classes in Python takes us to the realm of object-oriented programming. It also needs to serve a purpose. It's not just a cool phrase, object-oriented programming. It's actually serving a very important purpose of organizing and making your program to work better. It keeps your code drier, so you don't repeat yourself. There is a lot of functionality written for you already by Django people, Django authors. So yeah, so we are gonna just and really scratch the surface, but for all the CRUD methods, so create, retrieve, update, and delete, which works very well with maintaining a database. So let me just say, I don't want to talk too much about like the nitty-gritty of class-based views because it's been said already many times, and I can never say it as well as this guy here, Dennis Ivy. You can find him on YouTube. I'm going to put that link in my description of this video. And in this video, we can go to the full article that is in here. So basically what this guy does is he explains in a very organized way what class-based views are, where to look for the information, what is the structure of all this craziness, because it is pretty crazy if you look at the structure of all the different classes and the amount of all the classes in Django. So, and only for the views, by the way. So it's really good to at least check the article, or at least watch the video, and so you have an idea what you can get from class-based views. But just heads up, from my perspective, we'll be focused on CRUD, which it is mentioned here. Let me just scroll down to CRUD here. So CRUD is basically create, retrieve, update, delete. So these two here are standing for the retrieve, so to list a list of items or view a detail of a certain item. We're going to use the list view and detail view. Then we have create, which is create view, update view, and delete view. So they are ready to use classes that can be used for obviously, and it can be customized by us. So it's not just like, there's just like one way of using it. No, you can override some functionality and make it work the way you want it to work. So again, definitely check this video. And well, if you're as curious and investigative as Dennis Ivy here, definitely get into the article and maybe into Django documentation. Check what different classes are doing and where they come from, what's the structure, and so on. But anyway, let's go back to our project. I want to keep it as high level as possible so we can move faster. So let's go back here. First things first, terminal. Clear. We can close these. And let's start a new app. So let's go Python, manage PY, start app, my finances. That's the name of the app I want to create. And the idea for this is I want to keep track of the income and outcome and see if we can use this over, let's say, if you use it for a month, then you can have a projection of your savings and so on. So that would be pretty cool. Obviously, if you're able to stick to the regime of logging all your incomes and outcomes. But anyway, it's just an example of what you can build. Okay, so let's go to our My Finances. So let's just refresh here. Okay, we have our My Finances. So first thing you have to do every time you create a new app, you just have to go to settings and add that in here. So my finances, and I just want to keep it alphabetically. So A, M, W. Cool. So that's done. Let's go back to here, and we're going to keep record of the income and outcome. So we need some model for it. So in here, I want to create class income that will take from models.model. So in here, I want to say, okay, value. So what was the actual value of it? Models.integer, or maybe float field. And the next one will be date. So when was that income coming in? And that's going to be date time field The next one, I want to know what is the type of this income. So maybe it was just a salary, maybe it was some bonus, whatever. Char field, and that requires max length, which is for this, I don't know, let's make it 64. We won't be going any further than that. I want to also know if it's repetitive. Okay, that's going to be a Boolean field, and the default will be false. Just we need to specify if it is repetitive, otherwise we assume it's just a non-repetitive income. And we can keep track of when it was logged. So created at, and that's going to be models date time field, and now add auto, now add true. Okay, and that's that. Let me just make this a line break here, and let's go to here and go again and again. Probably we can just do exactly the same thing, and the next will be class balance models dot model, and that's going to be also similar, and I'll tell you why. Because we don't need repetitive, because your balance doesn't really understand the time. But in here, I want to keep the type in here because I want the balance to be also the balance of your current account and saving account. So if you, for example, have an outcome and we set the type to savings, then not only we take it from the balance, the current balance, but also we store it in the savings. So it's still your money. One thing that needs to be said is, hey, how do we know whose balance is it? Like, is it just for one person thing? And for now it is, because we want to just get very fast to it. But when we get the login thing, so that's going to be the next step after this app, we're going to add a user to those models. So then we can say, okay, this is the income for all of the income for this specific user, and then do some analysis based on that. Typical def string. It's good to have that sorted. Self, oops, it was already there. And we just want to say return, and that's going to be, say, self ID. We can just say here income self ID self dot date dot string from time, and we're going to just show that it's going to be % year % day slash % month. Forgot about the months and the day. Okay, so we have that, and then I think that should work fine. And although that is not exactly necessary, I'm going to just add that class meta in here, and we're going to say verbose name plural is incomes. And I'm going to do the same for all of those guys. So boom and boom. Okay, and in here it's outcome. I suppose we can add a type there. Self type. Okay, now it's more you get more information straight away. So that's outcome, and that's going to be our balance. Cool. So delete. Okay, of course that needs to be changed as well. So outcomes and balances. Okay, cool. So the model is done. Now obviously we need to make the migrations. So Python manage py make migrations. Ooh, Python. I did that before. It kind of makes sense to put that e at the end of Python. And migrate. Cool. Okay, so now we can add that to admin. So let's check how it's done in here. And I'll just copy from air pollution to my finances admin, and I'll just paste it all in here. And from, instead of air pollution, I want to go to my finances, and these are not there. So I want to add the income, outcome, and balance, and do income, outcome, and balance. Okay, so we should be able to see it on admin page. if I could spell. What was my... Yes. Okay, so here is my finances, and we have the balance, and we have incomes, outcomes, so it all works fine. Let's just leave empty white space there. Before we finish, I noticed a couple of things I want to fix in my code when I was editing my videos, and I just want to keep it in one video. So let's go here. First thing I want to fix, this was supposed to come in later, but then I realized it doesn't make sense to split it, so I'm going to just put that in here. So I assume the type here, we're going to have some string that will go in there. So I checked it out, and from Django 3.0 and up, we have this text choice and integer choice that we can use for choices for our type kind of stuff. So if we have income type and we want to only have, say, salary, bonus, and gift, for example, only 3 types and nothing else, and no errors, by the way, we don't want to just, put in salary capital letter, salary lower case, and then we have 2 different types. We just want to stick to 3 different elements. So we can do something pretty cool. Let's go and add a class inside of class, just like we did with meta. And in here, we call it income types, which extends models.integer choices. Okay. And in here, we need to specify our choices. So let's go with salary is number 1, and its representation will be salary. And then we have bonus, and that's going to be number 2. And that representation will be bonus. Gift is number 3. Gift, and maybe other. Number 4, other. Okay, and now in here, because we only have like a couple of options here, so then we can change this to positive small integer, because we don't need that much data for this. We only have 4 different options. It will be very small number. We won't go above 100, and that should take care of it. So we have this positive small integer field with choices being income types dot choices. Okay, and we can do exactly the same for our outcome. So let's add it here, and obviously that needs to be called outcome types. And to be honest, I know that sometimes keeping stuff short and sweet is better. So instead of going all the way to being too verbose, let's just go with I types, O types, and we'll have B types here. Okay, and this is fine. And then this will be a little bit more complicated. We'll have a bit more of these. So outcomes can be very, very different. So for example, we might have something like rent is 1, and then rent. Oops, I forgot to change this. So let's go here and change that in here so it doesn't give me any errors. And back to our outcome types. So we have rent. Let's add bills, and it's 2, and then bills. Keep it short and sweet. And then maybe any car, maintenance, tax, whatever. And then travel, in cases like petrol or train tickets. Maybe some health stuff. 5. So any health, any medical bills, groceries, any food, any kind of day-to-day stuff. Maybe fun. If you go out and have drinks, you want to have that split there as well. Maybe clothes. And charity, for example. 9. Charity. Okay. And also the beauty of using this is to keep it short. As I said, we'll be using this in our code. So instead of going outcome types and then we have groceries, we can stick to only 3 letters. And then we still have the representation. So we have the description of what those things are. And in case there is some overlap, you know, you can come up with some other system. But you have this, you know, all types.ren is rent, all types.bill is bills, and so on. So it's it's shorter in your code. We can do the same here. So sal, bone, gif, and auth. Then we have keep it short. Okay, let's go here. And again, the type will be this. We change the char field and we'll have to make that migration. All types. Okay. And the last one here. So let's go to balance, class, b type, models, integer choices. And the balance can be current. So stuff that you have in your pocket or bank account that is available. And savings. Savings, okay? And again, in here, we change that to positive, small integer field, and do choices. That's going to be b type choices. Let's check if everything, okay, yeah, it's there, it's there, it's there. Okay, so that's done. Another thing about those models is that I made this repetitive field here, but I never said what is the interval or what's the time between those repetitions. So let's add it here now. And again, that's going to be something of the models dot positive small integer. So it will be exactly the same for income and outcome. So I could keep this choices thing outside, but I'm thinking I want to keep it in the same way. So if I have choices for types in here, inside of the model, I also want to keep the types for of the repetition here as well. So let's go lower class repetition interval. Okay, we're not going to go any further than that. Decades would be a bit too long for this use. So we can now put our choices here, our interval, and also we need to know, oh, and we also need to specify that it can be default 0, assuming that if it's false, then we don't need to set it up. We don't need to put any information there. We're going to just say 0. And repetition time, let's call it. So what is so we have daily interval, how many days? And that's going to be models, positive small integer field, again, because it's not going to be more than, 32,000 and so on. So we're okay. And default will be 0 in case this is false. Okay. Okay, so we can do exactly the same for outcome. So let's just go here and add that here. We could do some inheritance here, but no, this is too simple to go into inheritance. And we want the interval and time underneath the repetitive. So we have interval and we have the time. Now it makes more sense. We have our choices here, and we also have, wait a second, I'm thinking if we put choices here and we put that 0 in here, it's not going to work. I made a boo-boo. So that should be, we need to add something else. So instead of day, so let's move that up, and let's say NA is 1, and then we get not applicable. And then here it's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now it makes more sense. Let's paste it here. And let's go with 1 as the default, because it would give us an error saying, hey, the choices are from 1 to something, and you're giving me 0. Cool. Okay, let's try to migrate it. Oops. We got an error. Where's an error? Choices must be iterable. Righty-ho. Forgot about choices. So interval that choices is the same for this dot. Thank you, Django. You help a lot. Okay, let's see if I can restart. Any errors? No, seems to be okay. And now we go Python manage make migrations, and it seems like it doesn't give me any errors. So it was okay to change those fields because we had nothing in the database, I assume. So we went from char field to positive integer with some choices there, but it's working okay. And one last fix there. I was thinking I don't want to have date time as the date of the income. It's supposed to be just today or tomorrow. So we don't want to actually put in a date time field in here. I just want a date field like this. And so that's okay. So then we are not going to put in hours, minutes, and seconds there. And that makes a bit more sense. Okay, and date field, and no hour, minutes, seconds there. And what is a date of a balance really? I suppose we can have something like update, but it's not this. It's going to be more like updated at, and then we just do auto now. Okay, so every time we save it, it just changes to now, and we get rid of the whole thing here. Right. So now that's done, and let's go and again make migrations. Seems okay, and migrate. Voila, all the fix is done. I'm going to finish here so we can have it nicely split. We started talking about class-based views. You have some homework to do to watch the video from my fellow YouTuber, Danny Ivy. Then we created this new app called My Finances, and we created models in it. So now we can move towards making first views. Cool, thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.